Hi everyone and welcome to today's webinar. We're live in Cambridge to bring you this webcast in partnership with 3GIS. Today we're going to look at management of fibre network assets, which is a critical factor in ensuring optimal service delivery, reducing operational costs and enhancing customer satisfaction. We're going to look at how Geographic Information or GIS-based network management systems can provide a powerful solution for network operators to visualise, locate and manage their infrastructure more easily. My name's Keely and I'll be moderating today, and I'm delighted to introduce our speakers, Emily Cabba, EMEA Sales Engineer at 3GIS, and Alan Gould, Implementation Engineer at 3GIS. Just a quick word about format. We're going to have a presentation from each of our speakers, followed by a short Q&A session discussion. We're also going to run two polls in which we invite you to participate at the end of the session. Feel free to send any questions you have as they occur to you at the bottom of the screen. You don't have to wait until the end, but they will be read out at the end. So without further ado, I shall hand over to Emily. Emily, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Keely. Just to check, can you see my screen with the slides? Okay. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Just thought I'd reiterate what Keely mentioned in our agenda. We're going to go over the advantages of GIS network management and then take a deeper dive into asset visualization and location, as well as maintenance and fault detection, and data and reporting. Keely mentioned some polls, and we're going to look at those at the end of the presentation before opening up the floor for questions. So to start off with, I'll just share a bit of background about 3GIS in case the audience isn't that familiar with who we are. 3GIS offers an end-to-end physical network inventory solution designed to simplify how telcos manage and share critical network data across their organization. We were founded in 2006 by industry veterans, and in 2007, 3GIS Web revolutionized telecom asset management as it was the first fully editable web-based platform available. Today, 3GIS offers a suite of solutions created to support the entire network lifecycle, from the plan, design, and build stages through to network management. We are an Esri Platinum partner and built on top of Esri infrastructure. For those who may not be familiar with Esri, they are a global leader within the realm of GIS, and they provide the underlying GIS technology that we're built on. 3GIS then layer on telco-specific business logic needed to understand complex fiber network connections. At our core, we provide solutions that enable mapping, analysis, data management, and collaboration. At 3GIS, we're committed to innovating for the global telecom market by delivering cutting-edge tools that enhance network management. As I mentioned, we're built on top of the Esri ecosystem, and our solution ensures that users have access to a single source of truth, providing clarity and consistency across organizations. We focus on scalability through configuration rather than costly customizations, allowing our solutions to adapt seamlessly as a business grows. Our open database architecture further enhances flexibility, enabling integrations with other tools and systems to drive efficiency. Finally, our thin client approach. Teams are able to view, share, and act on data from anywhere, which fosters collaboration and real-time decision-making across all levels of an organization. To give you an understanding of our footprint, 3GIS has a global reach and impact on telecom management. We operate from key locations across the globe with offices in the United States and Switzerland. We have a team of over 325 employees worldwide and deliver solutions to over 270 companies across more than 20 countries. Our customers come from diverse markets, and we meet specific business needs with a variety of solutions. Overall, we help clients overcome challenges by providing the tools and expertise that they need to succeed in a complex and competitive environment. So let's look at some of the challenges that telcos may often face. Without precise data to start off with, operational inefficiencies can arise, which can directly impact customer satisfaction. One way that GIS can help is that telcos can safeguard against substandard or incomplete data. This enables teams to work more efficiently and with reliable information. This minimizes errors and service disruptions, resulting in improved end user experience. Another challenge might be disconnected systems or fragmented data, which can lead to siloed operations, making collaboration and informed decision-making difficult. Effective data management, powered by GIS, enables telecom operators to achieve greater productivity in managing their networks. Centralized data can streamline workflows and break down data silos to foster better collaboration between teams. It can also provide accurate real-time insight, which enables stakeholders to make informed choices quickly. Moving on, another major challenge in network asset management is ensuring efficient and scalable network growth. Inefficient expansion can result in higher costs and delays, and missed opportunities might arise when high priority areas are not realized or targeted. This can limit scalability, restricting an organization's ability to adapt to changing market conditions. When it comes to planning and deployment, GIS tools can be used to identify high impact areas for expansion. This ensures resources are allocated where they provide the most value, which optimizes investments. Faster and smarter growth not only ensures the ability to keep up with demand, but can provide a competitive edge to companies. There are also challenges that are associated with regulatory compliance. Without accurate reporting, companies may be at increased risks associated with oversights that can leave them exposed to unnecessary vulnerabilities or even operational disruptions. GIS enables teams to operate confidently, knowing that their operations are well protected and compliant with regulations. Accurate reporting can reduce vulnerabilities, allowing teams to dedicate more energy to strategic initiatives with peace of mind. So now let's take a look at free GIS in action. Just to set the scene for you a bit, let's say we want to examine a specific area to assess fiber availability or capacity. For example, if a sales team need to query a network to understand if there's existing infrastructure that can be leveraged. The availability tool is the ultimate aid that can help a situation like this. It can also help expedite processes, such as identifying bottlenecks or areas of underutilization. All a user has to do is select an area to pull up those cables on the map. They can also toggle the highlights to add color-coded symbology to fiber cables in a network. They're able to hover over cables to gain information about cable capacity and strand availability, or they can further interrogate the data within the list view. Unassigned indicates that free fiber count that is available, whereas assigned indicates the number of fiber strands that are currently in use. No access has been configured to represent fiber that has been leased out to other companies and will prevent users from trying to connect to it. Okay, now it's time for our first poll. I believe the question is, how do you currently leverage GIS technology within your fiber network management? So if you can take some time to fill that out, I will now hand over to Alan, who will take a closer look at some specific examples.
Thanks, Emily. Hopefully you can all see my screen. So asset visualization and location. What does this mean? So understanding network connectivity. Planners and engineers need to know quickly how to identify routes of cables and how they're connected together. One way we can do this within 3GIS is using something called a diagram, which is a schematic of that network that you see as a geographic representation, but it's now broken down into a schematic showing you what cables are connected to which other cables, equipments, and splice closures. So, and then real-time asset visualization as well. If we want to go into a build such things, tools that we've got as a rack view, so that will give you an indication of where that equipment is located within a rack based on the floor, room, and aisle and bay information, which we class as FRAB, which if you look up here, we've got as 1.1.1.1, and there's various other attribute information that supports that. Another tool we utilize is something called the draw tool, which you can put floor plans on to indicate layouts within a room. And you can also do more detailed drawings of individual cabinets to aid planners and engineers in identifying where items may be within your network. If we move on to MDU connectivity and how best to see MDU information, what we've got here is a basic MDU, 2 stories, 5 occupants, and if we have a quick look at how that looks from a map view, geographic information, you've got lots of features that sit on top of each other. So it's not always easy to tell what is associated to what. Within 3GIS, again, we can use diagramming to break that information down from a connectivity perspective, and also what is on which floor, what it is, etc. So that gives you quite a good view of what exactly is in that premise. We've also got something called an MXU, which what that does is assigning equipment a level enables you to only select features that are appropriate to that level. So that gives you a far easier way of viewing that information and also being able to access it. There's also something within the MX called an elevation view, and that gives you a similar view, but this is in side elevation, and you can see where features are proportionate to the level at which they're on. So again, plenty of ways to actually find your network and where it's located. We've also got the ability to add attachments, so we can add images. So what you see here is access to a riser where you can obtain the key from. All this sort of information can be accessed by field engineers and planners. We've also got a connections manager, which once you're into the connection and where we can see what is connected to what, fibres are coming in, etc. So lots of information that you can use to identify customers, their connections, and where those pieces of equipment are located. So maintenance and fault detection. No one wants to see this sort of thing happen, but inevitably it does. So when something like this happens, you want to find out what customers you've got connected, what fibres have been damaged, and how you can get them connected and get those connections right first time. So 3GS has tools to get that information. So from the map, so we've had a hit on this cable here. So what tools can we use to get information about that cable? So we've got an info panel that can give us the cable information. So it's the cable name, number of fibres in that cable, number of buffers. So that's top end information. We can then also break down to the fibre level and find out the buffer ID, colour, the fibre ID, and the colour of that fibre. If we do use something called a signal trace, we can now do a signal trace on that same cable to identify all the customers that are affected in that cable, so we can see who is potentially going to be affected by that cable strike. We can then do a signal trace on that cable, and we can break it down to the individual fibres within that cable to pick up all the routing from the ODF all the way through to the customer and the connections that are made through the length of that signal. And like Emily showed you before, we've got the availability tool. This gives you information on possible capacity that you can use should it be necessary or be possible to divert around that damage if it's going to take a long time to do. So streamlining the maintenance and fault detection. If we do something with an OTDR, we get a result and it shows that there's a fault on that particular fibre. What we've got here is the OTDR trace tool, so we can select a specific equipment, we can select a port in that equipment and a distance that our OTDR has actually measured from that port. So then when we put that into the trace, what that does is it pinpoint and send us to the distance from that port. And again, doing a signal trace from that port, we can see where the issue may lie at this fibre splitter in the loop management area. So giving you information necessary to then go out and perform any necessary work in that particular node. Optimising resource allocations. So using GIS, we can proactively manage network health and reduce operational costs and improve service reliability. We can do this through something called work orders. Work orders allow you to assign users to specific work. Within those work orders, you can assign specific features within your system so that engineers know exactly what they're working on, and you can then run various reports based on that, and you can see what's happening on that work order as it progresses through the various statuses that you may have for your particular company. So in the field, we use something called 3GIS Mobile. 3GIS Mobile gives you a lot of the functionality that the web version gives you. So you've got the ability to select features. You've got the ability to search for various equipments, splice closures, cables, any features that you can in the web version. You can then zoom to that feature that you've selected, and you can get directions on how to get to that feature via a map. So as you can see, in order to get to that feature I've just selected, it's going to be about 3.5 hours, obviously, if engineers are closer. And again, you could use Work Order Manager potentially to see which engineers may be working in that area and route them to it. We can also invoke inspections for any feature within the system. So you can open an inspection. In this particular instance, it's a structure inspection, and you can program the inspection to give you all the necessary information that you may require for your business. Feedback on, like, conduit properly installed, is the lid correctly installed, is there any damage, etc. And all that is then fed back to the main database. We've also got the ability to update connectivity information with the use of notes. So in this particular instance, we've got a fibre cable that we want to change the record from F4 and put it onto port 2 as opposed to port 1. This can be fed back to the back office, where someone can then make those changes and then republish that back to the field in virtually instant time. We can also edit attributes in the field. Any attributes that are set to be editable can be editable in the field. So we can also take images to associate to features. And we can also annotate those, so indicating here where a node is located, and it's in the joint box. That then gets associated to that joint box for everyone to see, both in the mobile application and in the web application. We've also got the ability to generate reports on the fly. So in this instance, we can generate a splice report, and that gives us all the information. So our fibre colors, and there'd be various other bits you can pan around to see all the connectivity. So data and reporting next. And where we're going to go to now is the next poll question. So if you'd like to have a look at the next poll question. So, do your field teams have access to your network data while on the go? If you'd like to have a think about that, I'll just give you a minute or so, and then we'll continue. Right, while you're doing that, I'm going to now carry on. So, data-driven insights and reporting. So, poor quality data can result in inaccurate insights. So, That can lead to poor decision making and potentially costly mistakes. Reduced trust, so low data quality diminishes trust in that data. That can lead to hesitation or refusal to rely on data-driven insights. Increased cost and time. So poor data often requires additional cleaning and validation, which consumes resources and can delay in reports. Missed opportunities. Errors or omissions in data may cause important trends or opportunities to go unnoticed. And regulatory risks. In general, in regulated industries, inaccurate reporting can lead to non-compliance resulting in fines and reputational damage. Missed opportunities. Oh, that's wrong there. Errors. Yeah, so we've got risks, missed opportunities, errors or omissions in data can cause important trends or opportunities to go unnoticed. And then limited analysis and scope. Poor data limits the ability to use advanced analytics or AI, as these methods rely on high quality data to produce meaningful insights. So ensuring high data quality involves regular data cleansing, cleaning, validation, and adherence to data governance practices. This helps organizations generate reliable, timely insights that support effective decision making. So the need for sharing data and information with the government's launch of the National Underground Asset Register, it is becoming even more important to ensure that that data is accurate, to be viewed by other licensed operators, water, gas, electric, etc. So the key to all this working, making for a safer digging within the utilities network, is to make sure that that data is as good as you can get it. So some key takeaways. It must have accurate inventory to drive operational excellence and improve customer service. Embracing geospatial technology can help you to better understand your network and leverage best-in-class tools to deliver faster and at a much lower price point, but data accuracy is the key. So thank you very much for listening, and I believe we'll now open the floor up to questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you to both Emily and Alan. That was really interesting and gives us a lot to think about. Just before we move on to the question and answer portion of today, let's take a quick look at the poll results. So for Emily's question, do your field teams have access to your network data while on the go? I don't know if everybody can see this.
I can't see anything at the moment.
But there's quite a cross section.
You'd have to click on the surveys tab, I believe.
Click on the surveys. Yeah, there's quite a cross section of responses, really. So we've got 20% saying yes if there's internet access. And then we have 40% each saying no and I'm not sure. But we actually have 0% saying we don't work with field teams and also answering yes to that question. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Emily. Did you want to give a little bit of feedback on the poll results for that for us? Or am I looking at I'm looking at the wrong poll? I apologise.
I was thinking that.
Okay, yeah, sorry, that's way to confuse you.
Do you want me to answer on that?
Do you want to answer that one, Alan, and then we'll go back to Emily's one? Is that easier?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, so what that's telling me is there's probably systems out there that don't actually allow for users out in the field to access data on a regular basis. So they probably have to download something in a file format that they then have to use as a work pack or something. As regards to the internet access, I suppose the yes and if there is internet access, you can combine those two, because yes, if there is internet access would be the same as yes. So I think we can probably allow 20% for both of those.
Okay.
If you read that question right. But we do not work with field teams. So it looks like everyone works with field teams. It just might be the way that they communicate that information maybe not as streamlined as being able to access it while you're out in the field. That would be my impressions of reading those results.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Thank you for the insight on that. And now we are going to go to Emily's poll. Apologies for the confusion there. So this one, the question was, how do you currently leverage GIS technology in your fibre network management? So again, we've got another cross section here. But the biggest percentage was 50% who answered A for asset inventory and documentation. And then we've got 33.3% who say they don't use GIS technology yet. And then we're around and about even actually on 8.3% who both say, who answered for both route planning and optimization and real-time network monitoring. What do you think of that, Emily, in terms of those results?
Definitely. I feel like asset inventory, it makes sense that the majority of users are using GIS for that, because you're able to locate where your assets are, which is very important. But yeah, I see a lot of potential. Actually, I'm quite new to the telecoms industry, so all I know is 3GIS and how they manage assets. So I'd love to know how those who don't use GIS technology, I mean, are able to locate assets and are able to work with their network. And
that's a good point.
So yeah, that is really interesting to see. I feel like there is a lot of potential across the board to use or incorporate GIS in some way. Yeah,
definitely. Thank you very much. Thanks for the insight on that, and thanks everybody who participated in the polls as well. So if we move on to our question and answer now. So to start with, we've got a question. It says, having the data is great, but is it possible to make it visible / available to all teams, even third-party contractors? Who'd like to field that one for us?
Yeah, I can field that. So let me just get that. So yeah, it is possible to make the data available to all the teams and third-party contractors. Some considerations to be taken, and that is cloud-based collaboration platforms, data portals you can do it through, APIs for secure data sharing, and obviously there's security considerations. So you can do it based on a user role, things like that. We can configure that specific users can only do specific things or see parts of the network that they're allowed to do. So there's lots of different ways to configure that meets those requirements, and it's dependent on what the company actually requires to do.
Excellent, thank you. And another question, as well as things like NUAR, what other tech developments do you think we will see in telco going forward? Who'd like to take that one?
Yeah, I can take that one as well. Oh, go on then. Go on, Emily.
No, you go ahead, Alan. You're the expert.
No, I'll let you carry on.
Right. So I feel like one thing we're beginning to see is AI, and 3GIS actually has its own AI tool called Vision that can be used for automating inspections somewhat and gathering information from network assets. makes it a lot easier. That's one way, one tech development. It can also be used for predictive maintenance, so knowing when an inspection might be due, or knowing if assets need to be upgraded. That's the tech development that we're assuming to see in the future. Even things like VR and integrating that into workflows to bridge the gap between real life and the digital world, as well as digital twins that can create a digital model of the network entirely that you can then query, and you don't have to necessarily go out into the field. I think the final thing is cybersecurity innovations. That could also be led by AI, sort of threat detection and safe encryptions, those sorts of things. Yeah, I think that's everything I can think of.
Fantastic. Thank you. That actually ties in with another question that we've received, which is, are you planning to integrate automated inspection tools based on, for example, computer vision? I mean, you've kind of touched on that, but just to highlight that question also came in. So
I saw that. Alan, is there anything else you want to add on vision?
No, what I'll say on that question is we have done some work for customers previously on how to update 3GIS with tools that are in exchanges, etc., feeding that information back in real time. So we have done work with customers on that in the past. So hopefully that answers that question.
Perfect. Thank you both. Someone has asked, how does the tool know what the as-built state of the network is, and how can the data be assured as a record of what was built, not designed? I don't know who'd like to field that one for us.
Yeah, I can field that.
Yeah.
So
Thanks, Alan.
Within a work order, all features have a status, whether they're planned, as built, out of use, whatever. And when that is out in the field with an engineer, then they've got the ability to update that attribute as to what it is at the point at which they complete their work. So that should give the data quality a high standard. Also, within the mobile tool, you've got the ability to do redlining. So if something isn't quite in the right place, you can also feed that back at the point at which you complete the job, with a view to get that updated when it goes back into the office.
Okay.
So with all that, you should be able to get really good, accurate data.
Fantastic. Thank you. And somebody has asked, how are different users defined with their allowed jobs and connections? Who'd like to take that one?
I can do that. So with
Emily.
3GIS, we have named users, and what they can see on the 3GIS web platform is specifically tailored to their role and the sorts of tasks that they conduct in their day-to-day. So that can be defined using 3GIS admin. Different groups are created and users are put into those groups, which gives them permissions to access the tools that they need. And that also prevents users from having access to elements that they might not need access to. So it prevents sort of sales reps from being able to edit data and make sure that all of the permissions are associated with their roles. I think that answers the question.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. And we've got one more here. Somebody has asked, are the switches also reviewed or only the access points? Who'd like to take this one?
I'll take that one, because it sounds a bit, I'm not sure if they mean by switches, they mean what's in the exchange, what might be the customer, like an OLT, ONT, but basically connectivity flows through switches. So, like for instance, a splitter, you'll have one port coming in, 32 ports coming out. All that connectivity is kept within the system, so you can actually trace back through the network. So you know what is in the network. You can trace all the way back through to find where it goes, etc. So I think that answers that question. If the person's still on, they might want to expand on what they mean by switches.
I think that person has actually sent a message saying that they had to leave. But
okay.
We do all of our questions are saved, just so the audience knows. Our questions are all saved and passed on to our expert speakers after the webcast. So if anything needs answering later on, that's doable as well. That's all the questions that we have, which means it brings us to the end of today's webcast.
I see
the webcast will
is there
remain.
Another tool there? I see another tool. Are you planning to integrate?
Another one has come in. Amazing, fantastic.
The automated inspection tools based on a computer vision. I think that's one for you, Emily.
I feel like I touched upon that with. Yeah,
I think we did. I think we did answer that one, but there has been another one that's just come in, which says, are there any special labelling standards that are preferred in order to optimally leverage the tools? Can they be read with barcodes automatically?
I believe the computer vision does do that. I'm pretty sure that I've seen a demo on that. So there is the possibility to do it.
Fantastic.
I'm not sure about
that away. We need to take it away and probably comment further on it, but I'm pretty sure I've seen something along those lines. Okay,
brilliant. As I say, we'll send you all of the questions at the end, so you can answer them in your own time as well then. So thank you everyone who sent us questions. It's been a really, really good webcast. I've really enjoyed it. If you want to watch it on demand, it's going to be on the Fibre Systems website for the next 12 months, and that's www.fibre-systems. So let your friends and colleagues know if they'd enjoy it to catch up on demand, but also let them know, obviously, that the Q&A function won't work on demand. All that remains for me to do then is to say thank you so much again to Emily and Alan, to our sponsor 3GIS, to the Europa Science production team working hard in the background, and last but not least, of course, everyone who's tuned in today to watch the webinar. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.